To be a follower of Jesus Christ, you must deny yourself. Now, what does that mean, to deny yourself? Well, it does not mean you deny yourself of things. It does not mean that you deny yourself of things like I might deny myself of chocolate, or I might deny myself of fried food, or I might deny myself alcohol. Denying self is not giving up things for Jesus. Jesus is not talking about self-denial, but denying self. Those are two different things. To deny yourself, listen, to deny yourself means to deny you. To deny you. It means you say no to you. You take you off the throne of your life, and you put Jesus on the throne of your life. You no longer run your life. You no longer make the decisions. You no longer set the agenda for your life. Jesus does. The word deny here, it means, listen to this, it means to forget oneself, to lose sight of oneself, to lose sight of one's own interests. It means to disown self. Jesus is talking about lordship. Who is Lord of your life? Who's in charge? Who's making the decisions? If you want to be a follower of Jesus, if you want to be his disciple, you must deny self and put Jesus in charge of everything and submit your life to him. This is where you start. This is where it begins, if you desire to follow him. Being a follower of Jesus Christ is not just adding Jesus to your life. It requires a complete surrender of control. If you want to follow Jesus, you must deny yourself and take up your cross. What does that mean, to take up your cross? Well, taking up your cross is not some burden you must carry with you. People will say, well, this is my cross to bear. That's not what he's saying. The cross meant death. The cross was an instrument of execution. The cross was a violent, humiliating way to die. If you saw someone carrying a cross through the streets of Jerusalem, you knew that person was on their way to die. And Jesus says to be his disciple, you must take up your cross. It's a voluntary act. I voluntarily choose to take up the cross. And Luke's account says you must take up the cross daily. Daily. So it's a way of life for the Christian. Every day we take up our cross. Every day we choose to put self to death, to put death to our own ambitions and our own plans for the future. And we replace them with Christ's plans for us. And again, this is not optional. This is normal Christianity for the follower of Jesus Christ. And we really see this crucified life throughout the New Testament. In Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, Paul says, I have been crucified with Christ. And it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Paul says, I've been crucified. I'm dead. I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 24, it says, those who are Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Our passions and desires are nailed to the cross and replaced with what Jesus desires for us. In Colossians chapter 3, it says, since then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth, for you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. Set your mind on things above where Christ is and not on the things of the earth. Why? Because you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ. This is what is required to be a follower of Jesus Christ. Deny yourself, take up your cross. Then you are in the right place to follow him. But you got to start with this. And again, it's a way of life. It's a daily submission to the lordship of Jesus Christ. You know, in the Gospels, there's the story of the rich young ruler. And the rich young ruler, he had a desire for eternal life. He had a desire to follow God, but he wasn't willing to do what Jesus required to be his follower. He came to Jesus and said, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus finally told him, after talking about the law, Jesus said, "Well, go your way, sell whatever you have, give it to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come, take up the cross, and follow me." And it says that the man was sad at this word, and he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. And here was a man, he had a desire. There was something in him that longed for eternal life. There's something in him that longed for a relationship with God. But once he heard the requirements, once he heard what was required, he wouldn't do it. He wasn't willing to deny himself and take up his cross. He wasn't willing to put Jesus Christ in charge of his life. It's not optional.